What up, what up, what up, everybody? Legendary Talks. Um, episode 121. We have a really amazing, cool guy on here tonight. A true Yorker. I can't wait to chat with him. Let me just pin him. The legendary Peter Paul. Oh, he's just joined. Good. I'm going to request him unless he knows how to do it. How's everybody doing tonight? What should our drinking word be? Hey, Ricky, what's up? How you feeling? We're going to get you on here soon, Ricky. Another New York legend. Really excited to chat with Peter Paul. He should be joining us right now. What's up?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good. How you feeling?
All right.
Nice Christmas tree, first of all.
That's all wifey. That's all wifey's doing. Denise.
First of all, what should our drinking word be?
Oh, wow. Deneen, I need a drink.
Well,
I need,
word too.
our drinking word should be 2-drink minimum. That's our drinking word.
Okay, good. Okay. First of all, I want to thank you for doing this. This is my 121st episode, and we celebrate people that have been important to culture, as you know. I think you've seen, a few of these, and you know what it's all about, right?
Yeah. I mean, hanging with you is always what it's about.
Thank you. First, I do want to say, I want to send my condolences to Shabadoo's family, and acknowledge that Shabadoo passed away, a very important, legendary choreographer, dancer. Did you know him?
We interesting enough, I came up as a dancer,
Yeah.
my early career, and I looked up to that guy beyond, and we got in touch via Instagram, social media. We would touch via social media. He followed me, and I was like, oh, I couldn't believe like Shabadoo's following me, and was liking some of my posts, and I was like, oh, that's it. I made it. I got Shabadoo liking some of my posts.
Well, no, he's obviously from, if anyone doesn't know, from breaking and all these kind of like, really important break, hip hop kind of dance move things of the 80s. But, it's kind of like I met Timac and I became friends with Timac from The Last Dragon. It's the same thing. I'm like, oh my God, Timac. Timac texted me one time and I have the glow. I was like, oh my God, I'm the coolest person I know. Okay, so I want to start off. Describe yourself to me if I did not know you.
It's interesting, right? So it's going to come off kind of funny, right? I'm always waiting for people to figure out how they know me because I've been around. I've been a socialite kid early on. Oh, I got to look. Oh, look, I got a drink. Bingo.
2-drink minimum.
2-drink minimum. Hey, mine's got a reindeer on it.
What are you drinking?
Coquito.
Okay.
Hey, Damon.
Hey. Okay. So, yes.
So I'm a socialite kid that literally came up on the streets of New York.
Yeah.
In the club scene.
Yeah.
From Washington Square Park, 8th Street.
Yeah.
Literally from there to whatever clubs I can get into. So I was always, when I meet people, they know me from different places. So it's like you either know me from early, if you knew me from back in the day, you knew me from the dance culture, right? You knew me on the come up, Latin Quarters, Union Square. I mean, I'm talking the gritty, right? Or later on, you got to know me. You knew me from modeling and doing that. Or you knew me from then when I flipped in and I got into fashion. So, or I did my rap record and I had my rap group, 10 Thieves. So it's like in there, or DJ. I know I sound like I'm going on and on, right? But I'm always waiting for people when they meet me to give me the how do they know me, or like I wait because I'm like, oh man, I don't know how they're gonna how they gonna align themselves with me. I mean, are they gonna know me from this, that? I'm always nervous about that too when I meet people. I'm like, oh great, I'm gonna have to explain who I am, blah blah blah. And then luckily it's people like you that are around me that go, oh, this is Peter Paul. He's because I hate having to spill all my guts.
Well, I have a similar, dilemma. People always say, I hear them when I walk by, like, who is that? People always say, who is that? Or they say, what do you do? And it's hard for me to always articulate what I do quickly. So, it's kind of, I like to say what I do. I prefer that too. But New York, right?
All right, yeah. So raised in New York, born at the age of, I don't know what, I was an infant, right? So my mother and my father were in Boston, Massachusetts.
Mhm.
I was born at a hospital there, brought here to New York.
Okay,
Like literally out the womb. Next thing you know, I'm on Christopher Street. You
good.
know, that's the first block my mom moved on.
Um,
And my mother pursued. She was a actress, comedian, and she always says in her jokes, she's like, "Yeah, we moved on the gayest block on the planet," and I was like, "Perfect." And I literally would wake up, go skating on that block as I was growing up in New York, and literally roller skate with transvestites and this and that, and they would be the protectors. They would watch over me, and my mom like loved everything about that. And
amazing. I love
so,
that.
so I came up in art. By the way, I'm an artsy kid.
So my kind of touched on it right there, but I am obsessed with New York in the '80s. It's before my time, and I studied it. I love it. It inspires me to this day. I base all my parties based off of like kind of a New York in the '80s. What was it like, New York in the '80s? What was it like for you?
New York, it was interesting. It was like there was opportunity, but there was this danger, right? And there was this grittiness about New York, and you had to be conscious of that to survive in the
Yep.
grittiness. So
Yep.
going out, as great as that was, it was like a survival mission, right?
Yep.
So '80s, I wanted to be a break dancer. I was a young kid, literally up on at Rocksteady Park. I was basically like an intern. I was like a breakdance intern
Mhm.
to all these cats uptown. And I mean, literally, yo, go to the store, go get me cigarettes, go get my mom this, that. I would just run the errands just so I could be around these cats just to learn the skill. Because I was so, after Wild Style came out, I was just like running the streets in search of anything that was hip hop.
Yep. Well, because I described New York again. I wasn't there. This is just based off of like my, what I've read and things. New York was very dangerous, very extremely creative. You mean so? And out of that came, Basquiat, Keith Haring, Madonna, all these amazing things. Crazy Legs. All these people came from that creativity and that kind of demonstration. But that's how, at least how I envision it. So you mean?
No, I mean, it was two sides of a coin. It was like,
Yeah.
yeah, but they would be, in Soho, and Soho was gritty. I mean, Soho looked like Lower East Side at one point.
Yeah.
And they would have these, these loft parties, and they would get together and exchange ideas and creation. I mean, listen, I love, one of my guys I look up to is Fab Five Freddy during
Yep.
that time. And he was the guy that we were all like trying to emulate. I'm always, talking about that. Hey, babe, turn it back. And literally, I was like, watch how he navigated between Keith Haring, between Basquiat, and all those things, and bringing uptown to downtown. And I think that's what excited me most, because as a kid, luckily growing up downtown, I was exposed to everything.
Yep.
Meaning, where I grew up, I mean, look, I had new wave music.
Yep.
I was into. There was CBGBs over there. Not that I was really into that, but I knew about it.
Yep.
And then there was this hip hop movement that was coming and disco, which was really prevalent at that time. And I was caught in between because I was downtown kid. And when hip hop came, that's when I was like, that's it. That's my thing.
Well, it's interesting because what I've learned, I've had, Lisa Cooper, and I've had, Belinda, and I've had Dante and Stretch, and all these different people on here. And what I've kind of learned myself is in the '80s, the early '80s in particular, and Jessica Rosenblum, it was like from like '80 to '84, '85, it was all kind of mixed. It was hip hop with new wave, with punk, everyone's kind of mingling. And then I guess in around the mid '80s, it changed. And then by the '90s, it was like a very distinct, everyone with different categories. But in the early '80s, you could go to a club and be every type of person, from what I gather. So that's
you had the world, the tunnel, early tunnel. I'm not talking tunnel hip hop days. I'm talking early house days.
Yep.
There were so many clubs, Limelight. I didn't go to Limelight, but I was literally, the world was my spot.
Yeah.
Coming home from college a lot. I was going to Morgan State University. But early '80s. Let's just stick with early '80s. It's funny. We were on a clubhouse last night with Red Alert. Scratch. You were in there, weren't you? I kept on trying to bring you up. I was like, yo, but we were messing it all up. So we were talking about that. It's funny you talk about the '80s. We were talking about that last night. I'm into 2 in the morning, and what I loved about the 80s was that as hip hop was being looked at as kind of this avant-garde, not gonna last fad, you know, one-time thing, we were evolving it from a subcultural level.
Yeah.
And I love when the clubs were supporting it.
Yeah.
So there was a home, because before that we were just in the streets. I mean, we were at Rocksteady Park, Washington Square Park. Radios turned on Saturday, listen to Red Alert, Mr. Magic. That was our only outlet.
Yep.
But then Roxy comes, you know, and then that becomes the home of hip hop. I mean, the Fever, I was too young for the Fever and all that, you know, and I wasn't really traveling uptown like that. So I didn't really know the early going-ons until it came downtown. And that's when I feel like hip hop flourished, because it was inclusive.
Yeah. Well, I watched a documentary about, it came down to the Lower East Side, a club in the Lower East Side, and then the Roxy was the next place that they kind of embraced hip-hop party. So.
Wow. No, you're right. Hey, what's up, Frank? I see my man Frank in the room, some peeps, some legendary cats on the house tip. Yeah, dude, I was caught in between, man, I swear. I was like, I remember they were writing Disco Sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember it was like, yo, if you like disco, and I was going to this private school called VCS, Village Community School, and then I remember the shock of it all when I got kind of asked to leave the private school because I was doing mischief things. And, yo, at that school, not the name drop, but everybody loves a name drop. I was there in that school was Vin Diesel. You know, so me and Vin were on junior basketball. We were on the basketball team. And I used to hang in Westbeck with those guys and skateboard. And then all of a sudden, skating became the thing, and chicks with tight jeans and name jeans and blah, blah, designer jeans from Jordache to Valente and blah, blah, with those skates and that. And I was like, whoa, whoa, what's going on over there? And then I was hooked for the most part. So we were literally going to Waverly and Roxy every Saturday and Sunday for roller skating. And I was getting into and then I was hearing the, you know, oh, that, what's your sign? Blah, blah, Sugar Hill Gang, Grandmaster Flash, Party, mixes. I mean, it was just dope. Big shout out to Khalil Kane, who lived downtown as well. He was in Juice. Best skater you ever seen.
Oh, wow.
Best skater, yeah. He used to come Sunday, and we thought we were nice. He would come and just take it over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, speaking of Fat Freddy, I remember something. Fat Freddy told me, the fact that I know Fat Freddy to me is still amazing to me. I love, and, that you have admired for a long time. But he told me that he brought Keith Haring to the Paradise Garage for the first time.
Wow.
Keith had never been there, and that he took him there. And then the next week he came, and Keith was in the, the DJ booth where get in, and he's like, I brought you here. You know, it's so funny. So that's,
Yeah. I actually got to go to the garage, man. My uncle, did hair, and he worked with Patrick Kelly.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, at that time, they were like literally like brothers. And I watched Patrick Kelly and develop, and he had juice. He had he had that fashion juice. And I was like, yo, so he got me into the garage literally before it closed. I got to see it. And then what was funny, when I went in there, I saw some other hip hop kids in there. It was my first experience to like a house movement and that kind of atmosphere. Because we got to remember, I'm hip hop now.
Yep.
I'm literally I'm at Latin Quarters. Then we're an opening act at Union Square. My whole crew.
Yep. It's
called JC Dancers. Red Alert spinning. Clark Kent's actually spinning our set. We're opening for the hottest rap groups you've ever seen.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I'm there first time. I'm at Stetzer, Ultramagnetic, Eric B. and Rakim. Yo, Scott LaRock is alive, so it's Boogie Down Production. I meet D Nice when he's like 17, and we're all on stage together. And then we became the opening act, and KRS One took us on the road with them.
Wow.
We would do little gigs around. So if you look at the video live in Union Square, it's my crew. I actually got kicked out. I got suspended from the group because I had a fight earlier that week, in the club, and I got kicked out. But if you look at that video, live in Union Square with KRS One and D Nice on stage with Scott LaRock, that's my crew, JC Dancers.
How old were you? How old were you at the time?
I think I was 18.
Okay. Okay, so I want to get back to you kind of in the village with your mom. What's the first song or first hip hop song, either one, song that kind of really, you really resonated with you?
And, Sugar Hill Gang.
Which one?
Sugar Hill Gang, anything Sugar Hill Gang sang. And when I got to the roller skating rink, then it became Grandmaster Flash.
Okay. And then what's the first video? Not Michael Jackson. I only say not Michael Jackson because everyone says him. What's the first video you really kind of rocked your world? No pun intended.
Gotcha. He was what's my man name? I mean, laughing me. He's from the Commodores. He went solo. He went from the Commodores solo. He's got a funny looking face.
Lionel Richie?
Lionel Richie, there. Hang on, I feel like we're on a game show right now. Sorry. Yeah. Lionel Richie, Off the Wall, whatever it was the song he had. He was on it. The whole video was him on the wall. And he actually had people boogieing it.
That's a great one. I always thought he was a nerd, but I liked him kind of. He was a nerd. I was like, he's kind of a nerd, but like he's cool. I mean, but yes, dancing on the ceiling.
Right. And then he actually had boogie. He had people who were boogieing and stuff, and I was like, "Whoa, all right, that was hip."
All Night Long. Remember that one? That was
All Night Long. Yeah. Why am I the worst, dude? I DJ and I should know every name of everything. I'm not like MOS and those cats. They're like librarians, man.
MOS is like, I'll text him and I'll be goes, dude. Oh, it's Jodeci. He knows everything. Like he knows everything.
Oh my God. Between him and Kiss, I can't even keep up.
And then if a movie could describe your youth, or a movie that kind of defined your youth, what would that be?
I mean, anything with dancing in it. I mean, from Flashdance to breaking to Beat Street. Quick story. So I'm in junior high, and Beat Street was going on, and there was a kid in my school named Loose Joint who already had a manager and was in a Hershey's commercial and had permission to go anytime he wanted to and be in any audition and be in any film. Yeah. He ends up landing a role, not a prominent like speaking part, but for dancers, he got a spot in the film a couple of times. Yeah. It was part of the audition scene where they came in and dude was trying to audition as the DJ, and they were looking at dancers, and he actually had a good 2-minute flow on there showing him and his boy as one of the guys who auditioned to be one of the opening acts. Yeah. And I kicked myself, I don't know how many times, every time I watched that film, knowing that my man was in my class, made it down to Roxy, got in the film, and I'm sitting there worried about my mom kicking my butt if I cut school and go down there. Regrettable moment.
Oh, God. Listen, that was great. Like I would say the movie Flashdance, in my head, and I thought she lived in New York, so I always wanted to live in New York because of her. I remember, like, with the breakdancers and all that movie, I'm like, that's why I wanted to live in New York, but I realized later, no, it wasn't New York. But who do you think influenced you, or who did you look up to most as a young person?
It was interesting because my mom did, my mom and my dad, for the most part. I mean, my dad was an executive producer out in Boston working WCBB. Yeah. And he had like, those Sunday shows where you have the black show. Yep. That focuses on black people. He had that show running like for years. And he was like, he ran it. And then, so watching him direct, literally he went from Romper Room to like directing the news to having his own show, inspired me a lot. But then my mom coming to New York and being part of the Negro Ensemble Company, and then developing a group of comedians who consisted of Robert Townsend, Reginald Vell Johnson, Damon, and
Marlon,
Damon Wayans, and Keenan Wayans. Okay, they would practice in my living room.
Oh wow!
Because we ended up moving from Christopher Street as I was getting older. My mom was like, "All right, enough. We're gonna have to expose you to some other things." So we moved to Chelsea on 15th Street, and literally down the block was like the Wayans brothers, you know what I mean? And like I used to get chased by them, like their sister. It was like a tribe, man. I was scared of those guys. Between them and the Book Nights in the project. So we were 2 blocks away from Fulton Projects. You know where Maritime Hotel is? Yeah. Yeah. So across there is, before that was ever Maritime Hotel, it was with an M, something. It was a shelter for homeless kids.
For women, right?
Yeah. Actually for women first, and then it just became a homeless shelter for kids. And across there was the projects. So I was inspired by watching my mom do comedy and literally land on stage at the Improv. Yeah. And I ended up working. It was like my first job in the 80s. I worked at the comedy club called the Improv. Oh, wow. And I used to watch her go on stage. And then from there, I would literally get my little tip money, and then run to Latin Quarters, which was like 4 blocks away. So that was my routine. So those were kind of those were my immediate heroes.
Yeah.
And then as I started to blossom in the hip hop arena, Ty Fly, Pop, Crazy Legs, Frosty Freeze,
Yeah.
Fab. Those became my new heroes as I was venturing into this hip hop lane.
And then first of all, what a colorful childhood in a great way. What a like a rich, cultured and colorful childhood. That's awesome.
I was lucky.
What's the first club you ever went to? Do you remember, like the first stepping foot into the first club?
I mean, the roller skating thing was Waverly, and me and Red Alert were talking about that, and that's where I met Khalil and all those cats, and then it was kind of like Roxy,
yeah.
Right? And then before that, it was like YMCA with Bismarck performing at it. It was like weird. I mean, before Latin Quarters in Union Square, there wasn't really a lot of places to go. Then Roxy popped off, and then Roxy got closed.
Yeah.
It was roller skating first, then it became a hip hop club. I got to see LL Cool J there. I got to see Roxanne Shante there. I got to see a lot of groups, and I'm talking, literally, we'd be in the park, and my cousins would grab me and be like, "All right, we scraped up enough money. You got 20, you got 20, you got 20. We're going to Roxy." And then we go, and I just be enamored, like, "Oh my God, I'm in the Roxy."
Amazing.
And then you see dancers all over the place, Loose Bruce, and I met Stretch, and I started meeting all these cats, and I wasn't even doing. By the way, I was okay back then. I mean, I wasn't like I wasn't killing the game. I was kind of on the outside of the circle during that time.
Yeah. Who's the first to remember, really?
I'm sorry, broke up.
First DJ.
First DJ I really remember that stuck with me. I mean, it was because of the radio. It was real. I mean, it was weird, man. I didn't really look to the DJs as much because the DJs were uptown at the Fever and all that. So when Red Alert came downtown, he was like one of the first guys that we knew from the radio.
Yeah.
To then seeing him,
yeah, we
were like enamored, like, "Oh my God, that's Red Alert!" Like between him and Mr. Magic and those two radio stations, which were pushing only on the weekends you could get that hip hop. I mean, because you had 92 KTU and they were doing their thing, but it was like that freestyle music, and which was dope. But it was Red Alert. Red Alert was the first guy I was like, "Yo, man, that's that dude."
Yeah, no, he was so interesting last night. I loved that. He had so much to say. He's like, he is he has a great memory. First of all, he remembers everything, and he's like everybody's eternal uncle. I love him.
Oh, yeah.
Who was your first crew in New York? When you started going out to clubs and things like that, who was your crew?
Yeah, we had some. We were like an offbeat set from African Bambaataa and Zulu Nation. We were called I think it was like BBC or something like that, and we had like orange and red beads, and then we would have to meet up at Central Park with all the other crews, and then we'd have to like report in.
Yeah.
I don't know if you had to pay dues or something. It was funny though. We all had to meet up and then talk about what we were going to do. So that was like my first crew and a set. Yeah. And then I got down with Rocksteady Jr. when I met Top Fly and them. Okay. So I was like, I don't know what that was or that became anything, but I was told I was Rocksteady Jr. So in my mind, I was Rocksteady Jr. So, I tell everybody that.
What was your first big break dancing?
What's the name of the song? The one that goes wicked, 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 wicked.
Nucleus.
Wicked, wicked. Yeah, Nucleus. Yeah. First video I was ever in. It was It was filmed in Independence Plaza, right? And that's where Khalil Kane's from, right? Independence Plaza. And as funny as that is, right? It's not Chelsea, and it's not further up in Chelsea. So I actually had beef over there. So I'm in the video getting biz and trying to get on that camera and wiggy, 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 and doing my thing. And then I got chased towards the end of the video. They chased me out of there. Yeah. I don't know if Khalil was chasing me, but there was a bunch of cats who was just mad. Like, you ain't from here. Get out of here.
But you're in the video. And then when did you realize that you were a good dancer? What's the moment you're like, good?
Yeah, so I met up with the crew in Washington Square Park, and I was into a lot of mischief. I was doing a lot of dumb things.
Yeah.
Just dumb, 17-year-old type things.
Yep.
And my man Buddha Stretch, from Mop Tops pulled my collar and was like, "Yo, you should get down with this our dance crew. You know, we get biz. Like, let's just practice routines." And it was literally just to have routines and show our asses off in Washington Square Park.
Yeah.
And then we take the routines and go to Coney Island. So he was the first guy to pull my collar. We didn't have a crew name at the time. So in the crew was Ill from Ill and Out Scratch. It was Stretch, Mop Tops, you know, who did Remember the Times. Choreographed that and did Heavy D and did Will Smith. And then it was Tron, this breaker dude. And then because we had come up with these cool routines just on our own, just to have, you know, just to show off. He was like, "Yo, watch how many girls are gonna check you out when you get this routine going. And you're not messing around doing the dumb stuff." And I was like, "Oh, word, all right." And I started to get better. He literally would come to my house, show me this move, show me that. And then I started developing my own style. And then I got that hip hop thing on pat. I mean, yo, it took me like a month to learn the WAP, dude. It was embarrassing. It was like, yo, I literally was like, I cannot go to the rooftop if I don't have this down. I was like, no, it's not like this.
Yeah.
And it took me a minute, and then I finally got it. And it was like that aha moment, like what's his name, Steve, what's his name in that movie when he learned how to dance, and he was like this country dude, and he was with the black family, and he finally picked up the rhythm, and he was like Steve Martin. He was like, oh, and he got it. That was me. I caught it, and once I caught it, that was it. I was nice after that.
That's great. So you then go on to have this like very successful, lengthy, long dance career that you danced with Crystal Waters, Salt and Pepper, Steve Pennison, Jody Watley, all my favorites, kind of in their prime. What can you tell me about them, or like, you know, what, like, let's say Crystal Waters. I remember Crystal Waters always had it was two dancers, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was me. Well, early. It was myself and another gentleman named Khalid, my partner, who was kind of like a little taller than me, so it kind of worked.
Yep, I remember. And what was Crystal Waters in her prime, 100% pure love, Gypsy Woman, all that stuff? What was that like for you?
It was amazing. You know what it is? You know, and I know you can relate, man. Damon, you know when you hear that song in the club, and then you get to meet that artist.
Yep.
It's like that, and you've just been a fan of that particular song, and you know that was like the hottest song. I think I was at this club Rex, right? And so I was just getting so busy to it one night. I was just like,
yeah,
I was just grooving with it. I was like, oh, this is the hottest shit out.
Yeah. And
then I got a call, and they were like, yo, we need you to come down. And it was from a director that I had worked with before on a couple other projects. I think, and then it was right after we did the documentary. Oh, big shout out to my man Rubber Band right there. It was in this documentary I'm about to mention called Wrecking Shop by Diane Martell, which was on PBS.
Yep. And
that kind of blossomed us into this, oh, those are the guys. And you got to remember, MTV was in our backyard. It was in New York. So everybody wanted that backup dancer or that dance atmosphere or that persona of I've got dance music and I can make everybody dance. But look, the two guys I got with me, we're all dancing. Well, so that's what happened. It was like I was just right in the right place at the right time, and my house skills came up after hip hop, and I was nice with it. I was smooth, and they just got literally a director called me and my boys, and it's Flex too, by the way, he was in that video. The actor Flex. Returned comedian.
Yep.
Comedian turned actor.
Yep.
And we just got called in, and we made the routines literally right there that day. And Crystal was so impressed and enamored with us that she had her record was so hot she had to go on the road right then.
Yep.
And Vito Bruno, who was running that whole freestyle thing going on, he was like, all right, you're going with these two guys, you're going on the road with them. And we literally went on the road with her for about, after the video released, we then went right on the road for about 2 years.
I remember seeing you. I feel like I saw you at the Limelight. I used to work at the Limelight. I remember when Crystal Waters performed. But also something I was thinking about too is when I first moved to New York, it was the tail end of kind of all that. Delight was kind of still kind of popular, and they had two dancers, Chill Blast and this other guy. But a lot of those dance acts were using kind of hip hop dancers with the dance music. It was really interesting what was going on there. There was hip hop dancers with their dance music. So I think there was a lot of that going on, which is perfect for you with your, you know.
Yeah, you got to remember hip house.
Yeah,
right in the middle of that. So Jungle Brothers, they were bridging the gap with Girl I'll House You.
You're right.
And that's why my style was so unique, because I was able to give you a little hip hop and house and merge.
But also, you're really tall. How tall are you?
6'3".
Yes, to be a really good dancer and that tall was also very unique. You know, people are usually 5'7", the good dancer 5'6". So you were really.
Everybody keeps saying that. You know what it is? It's like I never, I've never thought of it like that. It's like you ever see Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with Bruce Lee? Right? You ever see him? Right? I'm sure he was never like, Bruce was never like, well, you're never gonna be a successful kung fu artist. Nah, he was like, just do it, man. You can knock anybody out.
Well, I think that.
And so I approached it like that.
That adds to your success though, because you were tall. It was.
Yeah.
And then how did you work with Salt and Pepper? How did that happen?
Just being on the scene. One of my boys he had left the crew from when we were at Union Square, and he got picked up by Steve Azor, who was the brother to the producer of the group, and the Azor brothers. And then he brought Trini on, and then he always wanted to work with me. And he was like, yo, Peter Paul, you're the nicest, blah, blah, this, that. And he was always gassing me. I was like, all right, all right. Then one day he was like, yo, I got you now. We're doing Talk Like Sex. You'd be perfect for it. I need you to choreograph this particular piece, and it was with another dancer who passed away, my man Keith Williams, who had another section. He had like he went from there to Janet Jackson, and he had the really kind of, it was like between Alvin Ailey / Flashdance / this different style. Yeah. And then they paired us and kept cutting to him and cutting to us, doing our hip hop thing. Yeah. And we kind of had a hip hop thing on the Salt and Pepper. You see it real quick. Like back in the day, I had dreads, by the way. So. And my man Mike is on the chat. All right, I see you.
And then CeCe Peniston, you did finally, right?
Yeah. So we didn't do the video, but we did Apollo. Okay. So in my career, man, there were stages I wanted to hit. Yeah. And the stages I wanted to hit was, as a dancer, like coming up was aspirationally was Apollo and Soul Train.
Yeah, exactly.
I had to hit those two to feel like I was real. I was really about it. So we hit Apollo. I'm nervous as hell because I'm like, that's right. I'm here, but they boo your ass.
I know.
I must have did the routine was so. If you watch it, you can YouTube it. I was so nice with that routine, dude. I did. CeCe cracked up a little bit, but not me. I was. CeCe ended up crying in the back after that.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But I had a good time at Apollo.
Well, you're getting all these people in their prime, and then what about Jody Watley, who's one of my favorites? I love Jody Watley.
Yeah. So Jody is so weird, man. I was almost not gonna do the video, and I'll tell you, I wrote it down just because I'm the worst with everything. You can tell. And so the Jody Watley was, I'm the one you need. I'm the one you need. Right? She had a slew of, it wasn't a hit. I don't think it was like one of the big hits. But I remember I had a choice to either do New Jack City, the movie with the crew, or go be this cute guy in her video. I was like, let me see. I'm like, she's kind of cute. I'll go over there. Let me see. And I went there and did the video. And it's funny. I just watched it today for the first time in, I don't know, 20 years. Just because we were going to talk.
I'm going to watch it tonight. And then obviously you did Mariah Carey Dream Lover, which is probably how I know you. How was that?
Yeah. That was great, man. Stretch, again, he was like that choreographer that was sought after by a lot of people. Yeah. Diane Martel directed it. She introduced us to Tommy Mottola, and I met Mariah. I met Mariah when I was actually in LA dancing for Mantronics, Soul Train. And I went to Arsenio Hall show, and she was there at the Arsenio Hall show, and I just went to go see Diane, and saw Diane, and she was like, "Oh, this is Mariah Carey," and I was like, "Oh, she was all skinny and slim, and I didn't really think twice. Oh yeah, nice to meet you." And I jetted, man. I was on my own. I was off to some next thing, and then we got a call. Stretch was like, "Yo, we're doing Mariah Carey's video," because Diane was directing. You gotta remember, that's our go-to. She's literally like just put us out in a documentary that's got us now going to like Japan and all over the world. And based on that doc, literally you gotta watch that Wrecking Shop. Like it's a cult flick to Japan.
I love Diane Martel. It's amazing.
Yeah, so it's all Diane's doing, and then now we're in a field. I got a funny story. You're gonna like this one. We're in a field, right? We've already met Mariah. There's a couple of dancers that she's doing a scene where they're with her. Like it was Henry and this guy named Keto that were around Mariah during the whole time. Mm-hmm. Then there was the other scene where we're in the field. You see me, I got my hat backwards. My first time, I told Tommy and them, I think I'm gonna be in this Mariah Carey video. She give me gear. I was modeling at the time too, so I threw that on. I had some Tommy gear on it, and then you could see me like literally in my hair and doing the routine. But then every time we would do our routine, they would cut and bust us out and bust Mariah in, and then literally vice versa, bust Mariah out, bust us in. They did not. Tommy Mottola knew not to have these young black dudes hanging around with Mariah at that time, because Mariah was kind of open too. I mean, they were married. She was so mad about that, just the whole day, I think. She jumped in that balloon scene where you see her take off in the balloon. She didn't come back. They started chasing her. She like had a fit and just jetted in the balloon.
So funny.
Like it was Wizard of Oz.
That's so funny. So we're in now we're in the 90s. Hip hop is like, full throttle, not any kind of like underground or anything. It's, on every TV station, on the charts, all these things. What clubs were popular in the 90s that you can remember? What were the clubs that you were going to in the 90s?
All right, so late 80s, early 90s, you got Mars, you've got the Tunnel,
yep.
You've got MKs, you've got, and that's where I met Stretch Armstrong, by the way, at MKs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then Nels, right? Hard to get into. Nels was like the hardest club to get into.
Jessica on here tells how she got the door job at Nels. And then what were some of the...
And Mars, by the way, Mars. And sorry, say again?
Who were some of the DJs around that time that you remember?
Yeah, we were talking about them last night. Duke of Denmark. Scratch said he got to play at Payday.
Oh, wow.
I was crazy. I was like, what? Oh, wow. Basil, because remember the house music is coming on now too now. So you got Kilimanjaro's.
Yep.
So Basil, Clark Kent. And we were real tight with Clark because he was from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Super tight with him since day one.
Goldfinger's on here right now.
Oh, I love Goldfinger. That's my dude.
Yep.
That's who inspired me on the DJ tip too, by the way.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So literally, and then Red Alert's popping in and out. So it was really diverse in the early 90s because the music was so flowing that they had a bunch of DJs, and it wasn't so, later, like 95 is when it became that hardcore, you go to this club if you're hardcore,
yep.
You go to that club if you want, to still be in the old R&B stage. If you want house, you got to go to that club. It started separating, and the Tunnel obviously jumps up out of nowhere, and that becomes the It 2 space.
Yeah.
And by the way, I would go to the Tunnel, and I would feel out of place by then.
Yeah.
I had dreads down the hair. I don't have the do-rag. I don't have, I'm looking like, I'm looking like some hippie, right? I'm in there, and nobody's checking for me. I was like, man, I kind of look out of place at the time. Yeah. But I would still go. We had to go. It was like, hip-hop was there. I would just get on the dance floor and get biz.
And then what's your first memory of me?
Yeah, I used to see you. I used to see you in passing a lot, and we didn't have. You were like, because you were the door guy
everywhere.
The door person, the person who you had to get to know. I would be cordial, but I was like, yo, this guy's hardcore. Like he's not playing with this door, And you held it down, and not until we really started vibing with like MOS and Kiss, and I had mad respect for you, and I knew who you were, but it was like not until we really got to start to really hang out with each other that I got to be like, oh man, this guy's so cool. I thought he was this other guy, versus now, and then when I got to know you, I got to get in anywhere. So I was like, oh, that's my man. But you always were. You reminded me of old New York because of the places that I came from.
Yeah.
So I respected what you were bringing to the table. Yeah. And a lot of people don't understand that. Like when we went to the World, the Twins were running the door at the World, you know what I mean? And you had to look the part, and you had to come up with the tie and the polka dots and the big shoes, and you had to play your part. And Nels, what's it called was running the door. What's his name? His brother was running it. So I had it in over there, and I actually knew Nell. So I knew the protocol with people who controlled the door, control what was going to go on in the club. Yeah. So luckily though, because I was a dancer, I got the VIP express look, and I would get right in and yo, Pete, yo, what's up? I was like, yo, come on, these two, yeah, and then I'm like looking up and down, and all right, they're all right, you know, it was those days, and I get them in off of my VIP. But then Jessica used to be so hard on me. She'd be like, yo, Peter, I don't want you fighting. I mean, I felt like I was reporting with my mom, like, yo, no fighting, no trouble, just dancing, boom, boom, boom. She used to hire me sometimes to bring a crew to like a party, a private party she was doing, and I'd bring a crew. They used to hire me at MK's. Pirate and all the Haitian cats, all those dudes used to hire me to bring dancers, and because we would set the party off. We would literally get in and get everybody jumping. What you do when we're at your party, you're that guy. You know what I mean? It's so funny how I look at you and I go, well, that's him now. He does that. You know, it's not even about the door. It's about your whole atmosphere and everybody that you bring in. It reminds me of so much old school New York, though, by the way.
Good. Well, so first, I remember you. I started coming on the scene. I started doing the door, and you know, I feel like a lot. You were one of the guys that were on the scene, and I think you were modeling at that time. And I remember that you were kind of this model dancer guy. That I remember you just coming a lot and being relatively cool and respectful. Like you were never like crazy. You know, I remember everyone being crazy because I was working the door probably 6-7 nights a week at all the hip hop parties in the late night, all of them. Like,
right.
I was working at every part. Jessica, for all them, for everybody. Cheetah, all, you know, everybody. And I remember you kind of being kind of quiet and respectful, and just kind of like when you came in, you would be dancing and stuff. And so you were ideally, if there wasn't any guys and stuff, you were ideally someone that I would want to come to the party. You know, I would like, you know, let you in and stuff. So I remember that.
Yeah, I believe it, Damon. I had to mature into that guy.
Yeah,
I was not that guy at Bill Spector's party. If you talk to Bill Spector, you'll get a whole nother story. You would not even believe who he was describing. Yeah, I was such a wild dude back in the day. But that's how New York was. I mean, you had to have your props, your respect. You know, you had to come in, you had to have your swag, and if anybody pulled on the dread, yo, my man, you had to be able to twist the arm quick and get them off you. Yeah, it was all these defense mechanisms I had, so I was always. Because I had a, you know, again, modeling. Yeah. The metrosexual thing wasn't crossing over yet. I was probably one of the first guys to get in on the modeling tip. And I remember saying, yo, is this going to be a good look? But Diane Martell had said to me, look, getting this much for videos, yo, you'll get like 10,000 coming down a runway. And I was like, whoa, rewind that. Wait, say that again. What? How much?
I'm a model.
I was like, wait, I might have to do that. So literally, I got a friend of mine had said there's a audition for models, and they're looking for somebody with dreads. And she was an intern there. She said, I can get you right in. I said, I was dissing it. Yo, listen, remember, I want to be a rapper now at this point. Yeah. You know, and I'm like, modeling was like in my rear view. Yeah. But I could not forget the dollar signs that Diane had put in my ear. Yeah. So I go to the audition for Donna Karen. It's for a new DKNY campaign that she wants to shoot. Wow. By Peter Arnell. And I was like, I was in there on some like, all right, man, what you think? I literally walked in like a hip hop dude. I walked in, I was like, yo, what's up? What we doing? Well, I gotta do that. All right, cool. They were looking at me like, huh? This guy isn't from like the agency, is he? And they were like, but then Donna came and saw me. She was like, she liked the rawness that I was coming with. And she was like, I don't have that. Mm-hmm. You know? And I was like, and she kind of gravitated to me. And then, but they were trying to throw out things for pitfalls for me. Like, well, does he have a book? Does he have any photos? I just got back from Japan with my crew, and we were models, dancers, and everything for this line called Men's Biggie in Japan. And they gave me a book this big, literally, and I was in it modeling. And I came with the book, and I was like, "Well, here, you want to check this out?" And they flipped. They were like all snooty about it. They were like, "Oh my God, he's in here!" And then I got the gig. Then Donna was it. And then they kind of played me in a way because I wasn't the traditional model guy, but I think I transitioned that into yo, we need a guy like that. So when you see a Tyson Beckford and you see, because Tyson and I were coming up, we were literally broke at the same, we were broke, man. I mean, we had $20 between us. Yeah. And the Donna Karen thing was to come up. And now we get videos. Don't get me wrong, I'll get my little videos, but that money would run out. I was a nut, man. I'd run around the club, buy everybody drinks. And next thing I know, my whole per diem's gone. My money I made for that video is gone. I didn't even know what saving was. I didn't even have a bank account. So I would run through that money. I was always looking for a gig because I'm always spending money hanging out. And so the Donna Karen thing set me up because it really showed me what real money could look like. And I mean, they tried to play me at first, but then I went and got an agency. I got boss, and I was asking everybody. I was on set. I was doing my push-ups, and I was like looking at the top dude. I was like, "How much you getting, man?" I was like in jail, right? Like you in jail. I was like, how much time you got? Oh, they give you 10,000. Oh, they give me 20,000. Oh, so they give me 30. And so I'm just adding it all up. I'm like, what do I got to do? And they school me. Go to the agency, get them to negotiate your price and your rates and this, that, and the other. And they try to play me and say, oh, you're going to be in the background. Meanwhile, they take my photo and blast it everywhere. I'm on the 59th Street Bridge. I'm on the side of the phone booths. And I was like, they got me. Because my first gig, I only got like 10 grand. But they flew me out to Florida. I'm in Miami first time. I'm at the Delano. I'm on a cell phone on the beach. I'm like, Mom, we made it. You know, and then Donna kept using me. But the problem was the way she was using me was like, you know, I'll show you one picture. No, you're gonna bug out.
All right.
I'll show you this quick picture real quick. Here you go.
Where did he go?
Here you go.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's good. That's cool. Shot that.
Yeah. So shirt off, but now the rap cats were like seeing it and they were like, yo, Pete, what's going on over there, man? What you doing? You got a Conan vest on with your chest out and a ponytail, walking dogs down the runway. What's up? So now the hood is not really feeling. Yeah. The hood, you know, I'm trying to get my 10 Thieves deal, and I'm like, oh man, this is not good, man. So, so I literally moved it over to Tommy, and that's how I met Tommy similar.
Yeah.
And that worked out for me. Meeting Tommy Hilfiger was like the perfect blend between what I was trying to do on the rap side and on the hip hop career, and what I wanted to do with them. Well,
don't they kind of credit you, or were you involved in getting Tommy kind of influenced by hip? Were you involved in that or no?
Yeah, so I was part of the concept, or you know, when you got to prove out a concept. So we had an idea, right? And Andy, when he met me, he was like, "Oh, perfect."
Yeah.
Because Tommy and Andy are brothers. I mean, Andy's the younger brother of Tommy Hilfiger.
Yeah.
And Andy, you know, when you got a younger brother, you're not going, you're gonna listen to him, but you're still gonna be like, you're my younger brother.
Yeah.
So I was kind of the proof, like, yo, tell him what you saw, what you said, and I would back up everything what Andy was saying. I was like, no, Tommy, I'm telling you, man.
Yeah.
You know, I was out of Morgan State University, so I knew how to write a little bit. I had a little deck prepared, and I was like, look, 60% of your marketplace is African American. If you just pay attention, Donna Karen's not, Calvin's not. That was my pitch. I was like, yo, Ralph Lauren's not. If you would just pay attention to this audience, and I said, and I've got a line into them because you remember I've done every video now. I'm in Buddy video, Salt and Pepper. You know, I know Tribe. I know everybody from every club you can think of. Mm-hmm. I said I can bring them all up here, man, and we can have a good time with this. And he was like this. So Andy's in his ear, I'm in his ear, and then Pooba does the you know, Jabot's hanging baggy, he'll figure on the top. And that was it. That was the straw break the camel's back. Tommy said, I'm going with it. Now, Peter, what are you going to do?
And that was like 95, 96 or something, right?
A little earlier, maybe.
Okay.
A little earlier, 93 maybe.
Oh, yeah.
On the 411 remix, Mary J. Blige.
I remember. I think it was, maybe 94. But
yeah, and they were on them, and it was Yo MTV Rap where he did it, and he actually had the Tommy on and everything.
I remember.
So right then, I was like, perfect. That's all I needed. So everything I was telling Tommy, he was like, all right, if that's what you're talking about, like he needed an example. All right, so if that's what you're talking about, let's go do it.
Yep.
And I literally called Light and Q-Tip and all of them, and I said, yo, listen, I got this opportunity. I'm up here at Tommy. I'm styling. I'm doing a couple of things. Let's get together. And they were like, oh, yeah, we're doing actually a cover for Source. And I was like, oh, perfect. Damon, I did not know what I was doing, bro. I went up there with garbage bags. Like, you know, when you get kicked out of your apartment and stuff, and you garbage bag it up. I went up there, garbage bagged all the clothes that I wanted, ran down to their set where they were shooting, laid it out on the floor. I didn't even have hangers. I didn't even have a rack. And I was like, yo, here it is. They were like, all right, yo, Fife put on the H hat. You know, Ali Shaheed Muhammad put on the H sweater. You know, Q-Tip put the button down, and literally you can Google that. It's on my page too. That was it. And I came back with the cover. I said, Tommy,
wow,
here's what I was talking about.
Wow.
And he was like, but you know how he is. He's like this. All right. Can you do it again? I was like, mother, all right, yeah. And then we did Snoop on Saturday Night Live, me, Andy, and we all worked that out together. They met him, but then we kind of collaborated on how to do that. And then Andy was like the plug, and then we went up. I remember I had to take Snoop to go play basketball that week. He was in town to play Saturday Night Live. And I took him to where me and Bobito play basketball in Chelsea. And Snoop dunked on me, by the way. Like literally dunked on me. But he was up at the office like smoking weed, and there was a basketball hoop in the CEO's office. And they called me, yo, Peter, you got to come get Snoop, man. He won't leave the office. I was like, all right, I got it. So I came and got him, and that was literally, he performed the next night. Where's the shirt? It sells out. Like, I mean, literally, nobody had seen it like that. Everybody's calling, going, yo, Tommy, what happened? What's going on? All the rugbies are sold out right now. And he was like, oh, that's my brother, Peter and all of them. They put it on Snoop on Saturday Night Live. And then that was it. We had carte blanche up at Tommy, and we were the fresh newness of what the company was going to leverage and bank on going forward.
Yeah.
And they were making tons of money though. Don't get me wrong, man. To do with khakis, the Oxford button downs, the ties, he was killing the game. He was making millions. But Tommy was so appreciative of people saying his name in the songs, and he felt like hip hop was the new jazz.
Yeah.
So he was like, I love it. And he's from Elmira. He's about Americana. He's about anything. He really rooted in that.
Yeah.
So he went with it, and he let us rock and roll. And then, I mean, the stories after that, from me finding Destiny Child to working with Aaliyah to Kadada, you name it.
Well, first of all, so that story about you styling that first shoot and Snoop wearing it on, that's exactly what the show is about. That's history, and those are legendary moments that are so important. And that's why I love the show, for just those. I didn't know that. I never knew any of that. Also, Goldfinger told us it was 92, Grand Poobah, by the way. He told.
Yeah, I knew it was early. I said not 90. It had to be early. 92. Thanks, brother, man. Yo, Kahim, what's up, brother? I know you out there, man.
Respect. Then, okay, so that kind of got you into marketing, which, to me, it's a natural, everything you've done is a natural progression, from being in New York to being around breakdancing to then becoming a dancer, then becoming then a rapper, and marketing, all kind of natural progression to me. And marketing to for someone like you or me is just, it's like a hustler's mentality. It's natural. It's very natural, I think. Marketing comes very naturally to me as well, in the way that it's like a hustler's mentality. I've always thought that. I mean, it's like street mentality, basically. But so you started working in marketing more seriously, basically, and you've had a really long, lengthy career. And what are some of the highlights for that for you?
I mean, yeah, like what you said. I love the fact that you and we come from these gritty places, and we've been influenced by so many different things, and that we were able to evolve the way we did. I wouldn't change anything that I did, other than maybe getting, shot in a club in my knee at one point. But other than that, being wrong place, wrong time. But I wouldn't change anything up, because the experience that we've had, you're never gonna get that. You're never gonna get. And I feel sorry for a lot of the young kids today. They're not gonna get that. So I think the opportunity. I think what was amazing for me is that it became an opportunity that I could see that could change my way of life, financially, mentally. And I was like, based on my hustle, I could turn that into a livelihood.
Yep.
And learning, and then somebody believing in you, and taking you under their wing as a company. That was the turning point of, I felt like I had arrived on another level. And that was something I'll never forget. That feeling.
Obviously, the money and the stability is great, but you're doing something for the culture that you love. So it's you are investing in culture, and doing things like the Source and things like that, and really being one of the first Black models, in that era, that kind of the rise of hip hop era. Those are really important cultural things too. So you're going to do these things that are culturally important while still advancing your career. So it's a win-win. You mean so?
Yeah, it was a super win. I mean, come on, you're doing what you love. But I mean, coming from where we come from, I mean, dude, I was on food stamps, and you know, I mean, look, I was culturally savvy and all that, and I got all that, but we were still poor. I mean, we were artists at the end of the day. My mom and dad were artists. So being able to turn the tables and do something that I love and actually being rewarded in such a way, saying, yo, we really respect what you do, that we're actually going to pay. Because you remember, I was like one of the only black dudes up at Tommy Hilfiger. It was like maybe two other guys. It was like one guy who had a really good position up there, Lloyd Boston, and he's written a number of books, and he's an amazing guy. He's always commentating on Wendy Williams, but he was the art director, like he was the creative director, art director guy there. And I was like, wow, when I saw him there, I felt comfortable. I was like, oh, good, there's somebody who looks like me. I'm cool with that. And then I saw another guy who was a designer. And obviously Andy and I, we just became like brothers, but it felt like I was like, all right, I can move in the circle. It was challenging at times because, I mean, dude, imagine trying to sit down and explain to like 10 white people in a room about grassroots marketing and saying, yo, there's this guy named Diddy who's out there doing bad boy. And if we flip it and do it in fashion, and they're like, well, what does that mean, grassroots? Yeah. And I mean, I had to start from the bottom up. I was like, I need a vehicle, I need bikes, I need this. We need to be lifestyle. We need to be in the culture. We need to be, you know, involved, not from the outside looking in. We need to be in the inside pushing it out. Yep. And they were like, yo, this guy Peter Paul has got so much energy. He's passionate. All right, he must know what he's talking about. You know, and they went with it. And literally, I started we started running with me and Andy are doing bus tours but and the other thing was, it wasn't just hip hop. Because I was from downtown, I knew how to, make it diverse. You know, because remember, Cassie's interning for me up there now. Yep. DJ Mark Ronson's fit modeling. Yep. Hold on. Stop for a second. DJ Cassie's interning for you. Mark Ronson is fit modeling at Tommy, and around that time, and that was a really unique moment. I remember that exact moment. I remember they had the ad of all the kids of. Remember that one? They had all the Kidada and Mark and. I think a bunch of so I'll tell you on that tour. It was Kadada, Aaliyah, Mark, Kate Hudson, Steven Seagal's son. Wow. We went all over the place. Mark was DJing. That's how I learned how to DJ, by the way. Mark came up and I told him, Mark, I said, I'm gonna keep hiring you, bro, on the fit model. I said, just teach me how to DJ. And I ended up opening up for him at System. It was me, Eric LePau, and Q-Tip. And we were all in with Joey IE and all those guys. And we went down there, and I would be the opening DJ, and I wasn't that great. I was better than Q-Tip though, and so I literally got on, and that was our practice though. It was like Mark gave us that lane, and allowed us, and then we were cutting demos with Mark. And this is how I knew I could DJ, because even while I was doing the marketing, I had this love of music from dance, and I was like, I gotta still be involved. So DJing was the next progressive. Yeah. So while I'm at Tommy, I saw this lane. I said, Mark, you're going to DJ all the events. And he became the go-to guy. Yeah. And then I knew he was going to blow up because he's doing all this production at his crib downtown, like near Prince Street. I take Deneen down there. Literally, Deneen's pregnant with my daughter, singing demos for Mark, singing all kinds of demos. This, that, Michael Jackson remixes, this, that, and the other. Literally, when Deneen and Mark see each other, they start singing that demo they did. I sit there and I laugh. I can't sing, so I can't join in. But I knew Mark was about to be out of here. So I was like, let me get my DJ skill up. So when Tommy goes, well, who's going to do all the events? I said, oh, I got that. So that's how I got my DJing on while I was at Tommy. I did all the events. I would do my marketing. I would do the fashion shows. I would do the after party with Mark and then without Mark. And then I became that guy that knew how to do it. And Kat started hearing that. Well, first of all, what a great you, Cassidy, Mark, and Q-Tip, you said, right? Yeah. What a great, all great guys, and none of you have changed, not one bit. I see Mark. I told you I was at the Oscars last year when Mark Ronson won the Oscar. I'm like, freaking Mark Ronson, he's winning an Oscar right now, and he hasn't changed one bit. So that's a really great group to be, with. No, I remember Eric LePau was just DJing reggae, and he finally broke out of that because he would be the reggae guy, like he'd be the reggae hitter. Like Mark would bring him down to do the reggae set. I would do my little house set in the beginning because I was like, what can I play that nobody knows about? Because I knew house music because I've been to the garage, I've been to seen Larry the Band, I've been to Choices, so I knew house and I could dance the house. So I was playing house in the beginning,
Yeah.
and Cassidy, yo, he used to diss me all the time. He was like, yo, your mixes suck. You're terrible. We would diss each other the whole time we were in the office, but playfully, like, you know, lovingly. Like, I love that kid. And we would tell him, like, yo, your name should be Butch Cassidy. That should be a DJ name, Butch Cassidy. And he was like, yo, fuck you. All day we would rag each other. And then Mark just went like this.
Yeah.
You know, and then we were just like, ah, shit, all right. He came out with his first album. He had it all tattooed in it, shaved in his head and blah, blah, blah. And we supported him on that. So it was just a love of people. That's why I always tell everybody, it wasn't just hip hop. It was an umbrella of diverse people with a lot of great energy that just loved music.
Yeah.
And we came together on that basis. Yeah. Fashion too, but and I could get along with everybody because where I grew up.
Yeah. No, that's a great way. I mean, what an amazing thing. It was people that were there for the same reason, to celebrate music, culture, fashion, with hip hop influences, but it was kind of like more broad and kind of like, about culture in general. So what is your first, what do you think your first love is? Dance, DJing, I don't know, modeling, marketing. What if you had to choose one, what's your first love?
Well, I'd have to say where I started. Dance is my first love, even though my knees hurt and I can't do it as much. Yeah. Then it became DJing.
Yeah.
I have a love of many things. Yeah. Like you do. I mean, come on, man. It's just like I love taking something from nothing and turning it into something bigger than it was. Yep. So I have an affinity for branding. Yep. And I mean, I'm the type of guy that goes to Times Square and you're looking where you're going and I'm looking at every sign and and I find myself doing this and, Danita would be like, what are you looking at? I'm like, I'm just checking out everybody's advertisement and seeing who did what. I'm weird like that, right? And I'm always thinking, what can I do to elevate whatever brand I'm working with and to give it that new flavor, that new twist, that new something. And so I'm always on the edge of that, of creation. So I think I'm just a creator. I'm a creative being that's always got this brand development. Yeah. And whether it's branding myself while I'm DJing and understanding where my lane is for that, or whether it's me being a model and understanding what lane I have to fill for those people. Yeah. I dress myself. I mean, literally, when I met Tommy, I was head to toe in Tommy, and Tommy didn't have to tell me how to rock Tommy. I told him, like, this is how we rock it. And he was like, oh, okay. So I've always been a marketing guy, not even knowing that, I was marketing myself.
Well, to be you're a curious person and a really observant person and really passionate. But, people like us, there's a lot of us, we are kind of the original influencers. I know it, we know we influence. You're influencing Tommy. Or many other people, I'm sure, but we're the original influencers, and I wear that proudly. I'm not getting paid, I don't know, $80,000 to do an Instagram post, but they're not really influencing much anyway. We are the original influencers. We know that. You mean?
Right. Big up to Nielsen, my man. First Spanish model with long hair on the runway. First Spanish Tyson Beckford and Nielsen Martinez.
And then Swiss Beats said it right in the beginning of quarantine. He said, when we started going IG Live, all the DJs, he said, right back, isn't it amazing that we're all locked down, right back to DJs and music where it always belonged, So I think that was such a true statement in the fact that, the minute we got locked down, by the second week, it was all about DJs.
Oh, I thought that was genius. That was genius.
What are some of the highlights of the Instagram Live DJs for you? Who have you been listening to? Who's on your mind?
Well, all right. So remember, we're going we're like deers in headlights, right? With deers in headlights, this COVID thing. We don't know what the hell is going on. We just hit with the news. Can't go out. You're quarantined. I didn't know what. None of us knew what that meant, and we're struggling with it, right? And we're stuck in the house, and then D Nice comes on. All right. And everybody starts hitting you yo, D Nice is on, right? I was like, what? It was 25 people. Yep. Next day, it's 100 people.
I know, right?
Next day, there's 1,000. I was like, yo, and it just, it was like a snowball effect, and it came down, and I was thunderous, man. I was like, I thought it was so inspiring. Yep. And it was aspirational, and I thought the new wave. It was a new wave. I've been working in the tech game for a minute now, trying to advance the cause on my marketing side, based on it, and it's sped up because of COVID. So I'm looking at all these are youth case studies. D Nice, Swiss Beats, Versus. Yeah. These are actually all case studies that I'm presenting to the brands and the the Microsofts of the world and people like that, as I'm explaining what we do best is we remix everything.
Yep.
And that's what I did. That's what you did in your career. That's what I did in my career.
Yeah.
I mean, Gucci wasn't made so that we could flow it the way Dapper Dan turned it into.
Yep. You're right.
Flipped it. Tommy wasn't made. Ralph Lauren, we're on trains with ski goggles. Never going to see a ski lift in our lives, but we knew we had the ski goggles on. You couldn't tell me jack. So I love the fact that we're always about that within our culture from day one, from when we, Cool Herc scratched the records and turned it into that block party and hip hop was birthed, that we continue to, in any form, in any genre, in any, sector, we come in, we take it and make it our own. That's one thing I love about us.
You're so right. That's exactly what happened. I never thought about that way until you just said it. It's exactly how it's always been. D-Nice and all the DJs just said, we're just going to, be innovative right now. And we're gonna keep what we do going. Where other people, I think, were like, threw their hands on like what they're gonna do. Well, I said for D-Nice, and we're all close friends with him, but he started spinning that first week. He was just doing what he knew how to do. I think he just, that's dealing with the situation. And, it couldn't have, I don't think anyone could be, we're all so happy for him. He was on here. I said, listen, we're all cheering you on from the sidelines. You have to know that. But in general, the idea of DJs on IG Live was so great for me. Like I was at home and, seeing Kiss and MOS on their IG Live has been so great. But for me, I got a chance to listen to some other DJs that wouldn't necessarily get the chance to listen to. Like Clark Kent, for instance, I listen to now. I don't know him that well. Like we're friendly, but all the other DJs I know, they're all my close friends. But like Clark Kent has been rocking my world. Gosh, he's so good. He's amazing.
Clark's been, man.
He's
yeah. One time he asked me to be down with the Super DJs back in the day when he had the Super DJ. That was such an amazing ask.
Yeah.
And I was so nervous. I was like, I'm not ready yet. I'm not there yet. Yeah, man. I agree. But I love our innovation.
Yep.
I love that even with IG wasn't ready for it. Yep. They were like, oh my God. Diddy had to call up and be like, look, I'm doing a fundraiser, talking to the CEO of IG, telling him, my man, I want no hiccups. I need you to have my shit looking straight, blah, blah, blah. I thought that was incredible. I was like, oh, see? Again, we remix it, and we got to get you guys straight.
You're right.
Right now, look at what's our new app right now? The new one we're on, Clubhouse. Clubhouse. I mean, look. It was a prototype. It was a beta test. Next thing you know, I think people on there going, is this for black people?
Yeah.
Is this for hip hop people? Is this like, it's so many people on here. Like, and I remember one room, they were like, where are the white people?
Yeah.
And I was dying. I'm not, and there are, don't get me wrong. There are, I mean, everybody's on there, but I'm just saying, again, we get on there.
Yeah.
And we remix it.
You're right. No, you're absolutely right. Okay, let me ask you some fun questions.
Okay.
Three best parties you've been to of all time.
The best, damn, dude, you heard me with this one. Best party I've been to
Top of your head.
of all time. Best party I've been to of all time.
Could be Latin Quarter, could be, whatever. A night at Nell's.
Yeah, I think my most fond memories and it was ill because it was like a society play into it too. It kind of reminded me of like that movie Less Than Zero.
Yep.
So Mars, I would say Mars.
Oh wow.
Was my favorite. Yeah, because I was just coming home from college and I was the guy coming home from college and I was the new guy. I was fresh and everybody was. Park Slope was over there. They had their little crew and how they dressed and their little girls and this that and I was the new kid and I jumped right back into the scene. So I would say between Mars and Sound Factory Bar. So Mars for hip hop and Sound Factory Bar for house.
Amazing. I saw Tina India at Sound Factory New York. It was
yo, and let's give a shout out to Buddha Ray, man.
Oh yes.
That was the guy. That was the guy I came after. I literally came to Sound Factory Bar, tried to battle him. I didn't have my skills weren't up yet. He just looked at me and was like this. And I had to go back to college and get my skills up and come back and get him.
Who are you, in your opinion, best dancers? Like, that you can think of, three best of all time.
Wow. Three best dancers of all time. Yeah, well, I mean, my mentor, one of the guys I look up to always is Stretch
Yep.
on hip hop. My man Khalif, who was my partner,
Mm-hmm.
the Crystal Waters on the house tip, and then Ejo, who is he's the best. He's been labeled the best house dancer ever.
Wow. Who are your three?
And all from Mop Top, by the way.
Okay. Three best rappers.
Slick Rick,
Oh, that's so good.
Big Daddy Kane,
Right.
and I know this one's gonna come from left field, but I actually like Kanye West, man. I like what he does.
And he's innovative for sure. You know.
Yeah, I like what he does. I like how he figured it out. Like I like the fact that he had to battle it. Like Jay-Z didn't give him props.
Oh yeah.
Nobody gave him props.
Right.
He's in rooms, and everybody's session rhyming until he finally got his record, and and the college dropout went.
Well, he's also innovative. You know, he's unique.
Oh, and yeah, the music is insane.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I think he paved the way for a whole nother generation of rappers after him. You know, this generation now is the direct effect of Kanye West.
nice.
So if you could have four people to dinner, living or dead, anybody, who would it be?
Wow. Yeah, living or dead. I'd like to have Sly from Sly and the Family Stone.
Cool.
I'd like to have Daryl from Daryl Hall and John Oates.
Cool.
I'd like to have Peter Criss from the group Kiss. Yeah, and if he was a real person, he could be turned into a person. T'Challa, Black Panther.
Cool.
From the comic books.
Very unique answer. So a couple last questions before we wrap it up.
He said Bruce Lee. Somebody said Bruce Lee. Yo, Bruce Lee would kick my ass. I wouldn't have him over. I'm crazy. Maybe break all the dishes. I'm out.
What inspires you right now? What are you inspired by?
I think everything we just talked about. I think for people like yourself and myself, we're looking for the next, movement as we're looking to create it in a sense, or be a part of this new movement, this new wave. And I'm really heavy in the tech space, and I think I got to play on how to bridge our way of life. The same thing I did at Tommy, basically, is to take our lifestyle and kind of like what Swizz and all these guys are doing is communicate our lifestyle with technology and bridge the gap.
Yeah.
And show how it could be utilized in the right way. Yeah. So that we could organically feed into it versus it being forced down our throats.
Yep.
And we could live with it.
Yeah.
The way we know how to live with it. I always use, what's the word I always use? So we can digest it the right way.
Yeah. And then what are you grateful for right now? What are you grateful for?
Well, yeah, so I'm grateful that Deneen got through COVID. She had COVID for about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. And we were really worrisome. And I'm glad that nobody in the house got it. I mean, luckily I have a pretty decent size house. So, so she was upstairs, I was downstairs. My mother was in her room. I take care of my mom now because she's got sarcoidosis of the heart and lungs. So she's on oxygen. So I was so worried that she would get it. So I was thankful that she didn't get COVID, that Deneen got through it, and that we're able to continue to move the way we move. Yeah. And one thing I got to say is now I'm independent. You know what I mean? I'm not like dependent on, any one brand. Like I'm not in-house as much. Yeah. So everybody who deals with me now has to work through my company. Yeah. So even though I'm running Chris Brown's brand or I'm dealing with Lala Anthony, Deneen and I are doing it through our company. So I'm really grateful to help and grateful that I made that move. Yep. And I'm able to evolve into this actual creative space without these crazy strings attached.
Right. And then the last question, it's, we're in quarantine, it's Corona. some people are working, some people aren't working. Our industry got hit extremely hard. How can people support you? Support you?
You know, I think what's interesting about that, I think beyond supporting me per se, I think we need to support each other a lot more. I think what I've learned about that is that the word love has come more into my vocabulary. I'm using it a lot more. And I'm realizing that, you know, at my, maybe it's my particular age now, but I'm realizing that I'm not taking anything for granted.
Yeah.
And I'm not taking people for granted.
Yeah.
And it's people like you and MOS and Kiss and Nielsen and all the people on here, Danny and all these people that are, you know, in our tribes.
Yep.
That I think the standoff thing isn't about that anymore. And you're one of those people, which I love, is you usher people in. I come into a club, I don't have a table. Yo, okay, no, we're over here. Like, oh, I got a drink, but where's your wife? Put it right. You know, you're like a throwback from the past. And I think we could all take a page out of your book and throw arms around. Yeah. And support each other versus this hating and, yo, what you doing? I'm not feeling you. Yeah. And I'm seeing Diddy out there. Yo, like, God is just like sick. They're like, just boom. He's just into Diddy's, you know, he's doing so many things. Yeah. And it's not about just Diddy anymore, you know. So he's evolved. I've evolved. I mean, I come from, you know, you say something funny, we swing it, you know, or we dance and I'm doing a suicide on your neck. Yeah. And I think that through what I've gone through or what I've come through, I'm starting to realize it's more about enjoying the people around me and coming up with my peoples. Yeah. You know, and I think if I make it, we all make it. Yeah. If he makes it, we all make it. You make it. You know what I mean? We're all there. We can all be at the table. That's awesome. Yeah, I've been saying this whole time, all we can do right now is support each other. That's what we have. That's what we can offer each other, is to support each other. You know, like our crew, you know, and our crew is big and huge, as you know, but like all we can do right now is support each other. So during this time. So. Yeah, and you're one of those people. I used to call, man. I used to be like, yo, Damon, man, I'm at members only. You know, I need Khalees to wear a jacket. What do you think? You come up, oh, maybe this, not this one. We can do that. And then you tell me who to dress and who I could get it out to. You would literally come up to the office on a whim of a call. No money exchange, no nothing. Just love on Peter. I like what you're doing with, yo, here, you take some gear. I don't really need that, but thank you anyways. You were always just humble and on some like, what can I help you do to move the needle along? And then I would come DJ at the spot and be like, yo, what do you need me to do? I'll DJ. I'll bring Monster down. We'll support the dinner. We'll give everybody headphones, you know, whatever brand I'm working with. So it's always been an equal exchange with us, which I love. Yeah, that's what it's all about to me personally. It's about, you know, especially right now. I mean, yes, in life in general, but especially during this time, all we can do right now is support each other. I believe that wholeheartedly. So, all right, Peter, I want to thank you for doing this. This is my 121st episode. Nice. I am so glad that we got to talk, and I didn't know a lot of these things about you. I love your rich, colorful childhood. You know, I'm glad we get to celebrate all your cultural contributions. You've kind of devoted your whole life to it, and I admire and appreciate that. You've done it with authenticity and with truthfulness and with passion and with like an open, you know, creative mind. So I'm really happy that you have evolved to where you're at, and I'm just happy to celebrate you on Legendary Talks. So. You know, and thank you so much, Damon, for having me on, and the respect that you've always given me, and the love. I feel like we brothers. You know what I mean? We a band of brothers, and we're going at this, and we're gonna go out on a high note, man. We're gonna have the most fun ever. Yeah. In 2021, we should have a party. Once this all clears up, every single day should be Legendary Damon Day. You know what I mean? And we got to do something amazing and great and fun in the future, and I'll be with you. All right. It's gonna be Happy New Year, and all your family. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Respect. Have a good night. Peace.